Brothers presents The Avengers. Wait, what? That's a super weird spelling of Feige. Not sure how the director of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and Tall Tale gets to direct a $200 million action picture, but here we are. Maybe his diabolique sizzle reel was just that f***ing impressive. Man, these opening credits are 90s as f***. Wait, how did they start the movie before doing the whole MCU masturbation montage? Just want to point out that these credits are still going. A movie that is only 89 minutes spends 3 of those on opening credits. By the time we get through the previously on MCU portion and the 15 minutes of end credits, this movie will have an actual runtime of 17 minutes and 33 seconds. John Steed is played by Ray Fiennes, and he's a fine actor and all, but it's really weird seeing him play Crimson Stallion after Pam Grier did it so memorably in the Solo movie. Also, cultural appropriation. Magic? Silly Walks? Or is this S.H.I.E.L.D.'s original name? Damn it, I hate getting my British bureaucracies confused. Hey look, it's the Milkman! His first appearance was in the Spider-Man Goes to Boise miniseries from 1976, when Marvel did the Superheroes in the Heartland specials to celebrate the release of At the Earth's Core. They're really going deep for this film. What the f*** was that? Were these two guys waiting for the two knives hitting the door signal? Man, the Chitauri are the worst.
Well done, Steed.
You mean all that was a training exercise? Steve Rogers. That guy's been a nightmare since he got thawed from the carbonite. You gotta really admire S.H.I.E.L.D. They don't call this a Maria Hill failure, or a Guy playing Galaga failure, or an Umbrella Ella failure. They call it a S.H.I.E.L.D. failure. The failure of one person is the failure of the entire organization. Like a Hydra. When you cut off one head, 2 more would grow back, but they voted against that. And to think, it's all because Nick Fury hated Edith Hamilton. Jim Broadbent takes the reins as Nick Fury in this movie, because Samuel L. Jackson broke his leg in a horse riding accident during a performance of Equus. They explain his appearance by mentioning that Nick Fury can shapeshift, but we never see him do that again until Captain Marvel. They can afford to have an insanely impractical helicarrier, but Nick Fury has to answer a landline?
Yes, it's bad.
Movie accidentally films and includes a real call between Marvel producers and Disney executives. I think it's fine to change things from the original material and make it your own, but why the name change to Emma Peel from Natasha Romanoff? Understandably, that might have been too Russian for some audiences, but what's really weird is they had to shoot scenes twice to call her Natasha for the Russian market.
I'm Dr. Peel.
I'm afraid that's impossible. You are female.
Which clearly means you won't get a standalone movie until we're at least 11 years into the cinematic universe. Also, man, those negotiations over whether Disney would produce female action figures really got personal, didn't they?
Dr. Peel, I presume.
And you must be Steed.
So far, this is playing more like an adaptation of an old British TV show, specifically in the era from, say, 1961 or so to the latter part of the decade. I admire the artistic flourishes, but when are we going to see Iron Man and Captain America in this thing? Wait a minute, is this even modern day?
A government project I was working on to create a weather shield.
Black Widow's English accent is even worse than Scarlet Witch's American accent.
A government project I was working on to create a weather shield.
Oh?
A defensive umbrella.
Yeah, I know Tony commissioned you to make that suit of armor around the world thing, but I thought we were past that. First, Tony's like, no more suits after Iron Man 2, and then he creates more. Then he's like, no more suit of armor around the world, and then he makes not only one for Earth, but for Venus and Mars too. And everybody remembers that Jupiter can go f*** itself line that we said for an entire summer. But the guy is out of control. This is probably the best Black Widow action scene ever put to film. Shame it's in black and white and mostly blurry.
If you didn't blow up Prospero, find out who did.
This Avengers initiative is an odd one. They send their primary suspect out to solve the case. How does that work? Movie that hasn't given 1 second to Hulk, or the Fantastic Four, or the X-Men, or really anybody who's supposed to be in this Avengers movie has time for this. I thought Loki looked pretty goth in Thor Ragnarok, but this look is clearly a bold new direction.
Anyone in particular?
Sir August de Winter.
The one thing I wish they changed from the original comic book was the Sir August de Winter name that Steve Ditko gave Mr. Freeze back in 1892 during the Great Bat-Hawk run. I mean, a guy that controls the weather has winter in his name. That Y isn't fooling anyone.
He thinks British weather has been tampered with by aliens. It's all very hush-hush.
Goddamn trouble-causing Chitauri, always covering their goddamn tracks. She's just breaking right into this mansion. I know she and Bruce were friends when they were kids, but that was a long time ago. Uma Thurman does a great job playing 2 roles in this movie. One is Black Widow, and the other, of course, is Poison Ivy, one of Marvel's best comic book properties. Sounds like I should remove a sin, so I won't.
Peel. Emma Peel.
No, Bride. The Bride. Also, this Stan Lee cameo's gotta be the wildest I've seen since Thor Ragnarok.
Cumulus.
Yes.
Stratocumulus.
Oh, yes.
Man, if Natasha doesn't watch out, Odin is gonna cumulus in his pants.
A good 10 inches overnight there. You know, one should never fear being wet.
Geez, the Marvel Universe hadn't had double entendres this saucy since the one time Tony Stark talked about lubing up his Hulkbuster to force Bruce Banner into submission. Also, thank God they finally allowed a few jokes about vaginal viscosity into the MCU. I've been clamoring for this ever since I saw the look Pepper gave Tony when she first went down to the lab.
The twisted labellum.
Okay, gang, multiple choice. The twisted labellum is A, the fake condition my college girlfriend claimed to have to avoid having sex with me. B, the original band name for Lady Antebellum back in their early emo days. C, a spicy Albanian cola drink. Or D, the medical condition one gets when trying to make sense of this movie. Cool, they finally worked Storm from X-Men into the MCU. I hope they stick with the accent this time, though. Ah, come on, we've already seen Odin fight the Frost Giants in Jotunheim. Pick a new set piece, damn it!
You tried to shoot me, didn't you?
I would never shoot you. Not without my reason.
Look, we waited for years for the Avengers to hit movie screens, and this is pretty terrible. It happens, but this movie is still better than Thor the Dark World.
My colleague and I represent a very influential group of flower growers working under tremendously adverse conditions.
Someone going to a company to figure out how to grow plants in adverse conditions? Isn't this just like Batman Hush when Poison Ivy needed a fortified ethylene compound to grow exotic plants in different locales and temperatures? Did Disney buy DC when we weren't looking?
Have you seen the seven-spotted ladybird in the mating season?
We've reached minute 26 of this movie, and now I'm wondering, what the is this? I mean, we saw Thor talk to John Steed earlier in the movie, and he said he had to go back to Isengard to meet up with Stellan Skarsgård before they both took a trip to Asgard to meet up with the Guardians of the Galaxy to buy some right guard. But we haven't seen Thor since.
Welcome to Wonderland Weather, here in our London headquarters.
One of the weirdest things about Disney owning Marvel is that they insert all their properties in these things now, including the gummy bears.
Now, does anybody wish to resign?
Avengers movie steals the evil organization has people who want to leave it and they get killed right after that scene from Batman. And I thought Marvel didn't want to be like DC at all.
How can I show my appreciation?
I'm not saying Odin couldn't throw both of those darts and make a perfect kill shot in a 75-pound bear suit that's reducing his mobility by at least 82%, but I am saying that Red Skull couldn't throw both of those darts and make a perfect kill shot in a 75-pound bear suit that's reducing his mobility by at least 82%. Where are all the Hydra guys that Captain America just beat up on this elevator? Man, John Steed just walked into the final episode of Agents of Furries. This is the one where Agent Coulson expresses his love to Ursa Major. He's never seen her face, even though they've made love 15 times. And it's the unmasking episode. Spoiler alert! Ursa Major is played by Kristen Milotti. She wants revenge for Maria Hill stealing her man in How I Met Your Mother. It's the best show. The best. I really do think the Kingsman owes a lot to this movie for his action scenes. The only thing missing is Colin Firth and, of course, as we've already said, Samuel L. Jackson. Hey, I know they're called Brawly or some I really didn't hear what Mr. Freeze said to Thanos earlier, but does this logo make them a precursor to the Umbrella Corporation? Are we about to see zombies? I hope we don't see zombies. Wow, the tension in this scene almost gives you the chills, doesn't it? Uma's expressionless demeanor, the quick cuts to the furry and the plush suit, and the fact that we have no idea where we are in this building is super unsettling. And also, MCU movies are rarely bold enough to devote this much time to a scene like this. Remove us in! Oh, so this is finally the Falcon origin story everyone's been asking for.
I thought I was seeing double.
That makes two of us.
You only saw one of yourself, right? You didn't see two people. Yes, one is Black Widow and the other is Poison Ivy, but you saw a single person and not double, unless you're on some narcotics. I guess they're still repairing the helicarrier, but this sure is a severe downgrade.
I often think of 6 impossible things before breakfast.
Disney now sticks Alice in Wonderland in this movie. When will it end? Oh, are the Dark Elves gonna attack London again? I've already hated this. You know what's great about this? Sean Connery gets to play what amounts to a Bond villain once more, like he did in Never Say Never Again. I don't understand how Tony Stark can shame others for playing Galaga during a mission if he's going to spend so much time playing chess.
Pawn to Queen's Bishop 3.
Also, it's super rude for Natasha and Tony to finish the chess game Charles and Eric were playing at the end of the first X-Men.
A cluster of microclimates round a single area. Very, very strange.
Yes, we know! Jane Foster investigated that with Eric Selvig in the first Thor movie. Are we gonna get to the Avengers now? That is this movie's title, right?
I can't hold off the ministry much longer.
Now there's a government double-cross? God damn, this plot's convoluted. No wonder this franchise inevitably morphed into Endgame's muddy time-traveling storyline. Finally, a Tesseract you can masturbate with. Or 2. I hate the fact that Marvel movies always advertise the new movies inside the current movie. Here's a bit of a preview of what to expect from Ant-Man and the Hive, coming next summer or fall or some nobody really knows. Hey, get your Return of the Jedi out of my Marvel movie. I don't care if Disney owns both of your asses.
My name's Alice. Mother said you'd be on your way.
I'm perfectly fine with the movie choosing to make Jarvis a woman, but I feel like I should just go ahead and send all the Twitter outrage from the social Jarvis warriors.
A man with an umbrella is a man praying for rain.
August de Winter is such a strange villain for the first Avengers movie. Like, he isn't even threatening the world, just the United Kingdom. Sure, being able to control the weather is bad, even if it's over an area of roughly the size of, oh, I don't know, Rhode Island. But why does this problem need the full team?
Please, when you awake
you will remember nothing.
Hey, when did he get Loki's mind control scepter? I missed that entire scene. Natasha running around an MC Escher staircase is a great idea, but it comes out of nowhere. I know if you read the comic book mini insert from the Honeygrams campaign, it explains all the stuff about how Doctor Strange used to be friends with August de Winter, and for his 65th birthday, he built him the staircase in a place that used to be an orphanage. But if you don't know anything about that, you sort of wonder how Doctor Strange fits into this movie at all. This action scene takes place with only a couple of cuts, without special effects, and is easily seen and understood. Oh, well done, Marvel. Sit off.
Don't tell me you never met the right girl.
Well, there's always the exception.
That proves the rule.
Man, this movie is terrible. How in the world does it have an 8.0 on IMDb? I know everybody likes to point to that Hulk fight with the Iron Giant, but Iron Giant's missiles made short work of the Hulk, and we've yet to see Bruce Banner get dipped into the Genesis chamber. My point is, 8.0 is super high for a movie that is 95% tea drinking. Even though it's pretty clear Loki is the one who can create the weather they're seeing, Black Widow is still the chief suspect. I get that female Robert Redford is taking over, but surely Nick Fury can see what's right in front of his face. They even let him have 2 functioning eyes. If he sees Petty Carter doing busy work through a window in the next room, so help me God.
Talk to the pipe. That usually helps.
When Marvel said they were crossing over with Universal and the Monsterverse, I was skeptical. But the Invisible Man is a terrific addition to the franchise, even though he has to compete with Sue Storm for missions requiring invisibility. Also, bringing in Patrick McNee from the old Avengers TV show is a masterstroke in metacasting.
Council of Ministers is now in emergency session.
Funny what you catch the second time around when you watch a movie. I didn't realize they were talking about the Sokovia Accords this early in the MCU.
Now is the winter of your discontent.
Captain Ramius, the Winter Soldier. Also, I like how the movie quickly realized that whatever nationality they made Private Flanagan, he would just use a Scottish accent, so might as well throw on the kilt. Originally, they wanted a Spanish Loki, but realized there could be only one.
You will buy your weather from me.
Man, having a main villain in an MCU movie who's just doing this evil for money really doesn't seem like a mission worthy of the Avengers. Look, this is where the MCU died, when they inserted Voldemort into this movie and gave him a time turner.
I have Mrs. Peel on board.
I have to assume they're headed to Siberia or some to meet up with a dude that will manufacture some bullshit conflict to make Ralph Fiennes and Uma Thurman fight each other to the death. As Catwoman fights herself aboard a hot air balloon over a snow-drenched London, I have to ask, where the is Thor right now? Or Hulk? I would like to talk about how Iron Man and the hot air balloon would not still be propelling forward because gravity. Also, this might be one of the weirdest edits ever, where the movie completely removes the part where Iron Man first captured the hot air balloon and threw it into the sign. I've seen the making of on this, and the producers explained that the digital footage ended up on the cutting room floor, and then they just started talking about the costumes. No further explanation. I've been dreaming of a true love's kiss, a time of Voldemort and Uma bliss.
Some sort of radio transmitter.
Jim Broadbent has pulled double duty in this movie by playing both Nick Fury and Professor X after the budget cuts forced him into 2 roles. And all I've got to say about this performance is that he's delightful in Moulin Rouge.
Our agents are on the case right now, sir. 2 of them, sir.
I get that movies want to save some surprises for sequels these days, but this movie was called The Avengers, not The Duo. So maybe at least throw in a Thunderbolt or Howard the Duck. That would have been something to whet the fans' appetite till The Avengers 2, The Search for More Money. Movie steals the snow from Batman Returns.
The teddy bears are having a picnic.
Man, all the comic book nerds who are also John Walter Bratton fans just got a hell of a laugh. All 3 of them.
Seems familiar.
I don't have a TARDIS of a clue what the Iron Man is going on about.
Hello now, round cow.
Welcome.
How is it a security breach if Loki let them into the Asgard garage himself? When Emma throws Bailey against this wall, you can see that this is clearly not Tom Hiddleston. Whoa, our first F-bomb in MCU history. This is just as groundbreaking as when Henry Cavill said it in Mission Impossible Fallout. Just 5 minutes ago, we had that great fight between Groot and Thanos, but now the whole movie is going to be decided on this Umbrella Kane fight. Over an hour into this, and we keep having Iron Man fights without the Iron Man suit. It was a bold choice. Not a good one, but it was bold.
Time to die. Not just yet.
How in the did this movie even know the new James Bond film got pushed back due to the coronavirus? And they had the James Bond to say that line.
The owl and the pussycat went to sea.
In a beautiful pea green boat.
A minute ago, we saw famous Avengers the Owl and the Pussycat take off in a green boat, so it's weird to see John and Natasha give us unnecessary exposition in such a weird, poetic way. Who talks like this? Sweet, I can't wait for the 5 end credit scenes that'll take place over the next 43 minutes.
You were supposed to understand. I'll make you understand.
Make sure you click that bell icon.
Sellouts.
But clicking the little bell icon is how you make sure you get notified every time we release a video. So click it.
Sellouts.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
A government project I was working on to create a weather shield.
Oh?
A defensive umbrella.
Is that how you see this? This is protection? It's internment. May I have the password, please?
Fidelio.
Nothing is impossible. I found a cure for the plague of the 20th century, and now I've lost it.
He wears a turban.
No, he's Sikh. If he wears a turban, he's Sikh.
I'll probably marry him.
Really? That's sudden.
My mother always told me I would summon my husband by playing the piano.
Don Bassini, I want to thank you for helping me organize this meeting here today. And also the other heads of the 5 families, New York, New Jersey.
A man stands alone at a plate. This is the time for what? For individual achievement.
Good shot. Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen. A man with an umbrella is a man praying for rain.
I suddenly remembered my Charlemagne. Let my armies be the rocks and the trees and the birds in the sky.
It's as though we were made for each other. Beauty and the Beast. Of course, if anyone else calls you Beast, I'll rip their lungs out.
Absolutely, old chap. Isn't that just like a wop? Brings a knife to a gunfight.